Hello everyone and welcome back to our project where we build CRM system from scratch. So let's think about what we want to do next, right? Let's think about that. So let's go to our project and start everything. Okay. So in our CRM we can now navigate. Oh, we cannot navigate. We have a bug, I guess. Yeah, must remove the card. That's nice. So with John Doe it works and with Patrick it doesn't, which is interesting. So let's fix the bug. The bug with Patrick. We cannot move the card. So here must remove the card, and card is Patrick, and it's interesting. Let's log. Stuff. So we have our cards, and in the screen we have so basically test task, right? So we have our Patrick in a test task actually, but here it's in the screen, which is wrong, right? This is wrong. It's in the screen, but it's also in the test task. So that's just my bad. Yeah, it's just my bad. Yeah, now it works. So we fixed the Patrick, and Patrick is now happy. I just committed. Okay. Let's see. Let's think about what we want to do next. We can go between the stages, and I was clicking around in the begin in the Zoho CRM, right? And what I see is that they actually create like a history in the timeline when I change something, and it can be anything, to be honest. It can be customer type, right? I just change customer type from B to A. I click save, and it's creating an entry with this stuff. So let's do that. Let's implement the timeline with the changes. That sounds like fun. So on the right side, first of all, we want to render this navigation, right? So render navigation on the right side. Okay. Okay, we have the bottom, and on the right we do not have anything yet, and we wanna have it. Yeah. On the right, it's gonna be like, let's give it background black to see this guy. Okay, we have it here, and at the very top of it we wanna see a navigation. And navigation is just a container with some buttons. And we just add navigation to the div right. And we have our timeline. Now the timeline itself has to have a background white and maybe padding y2, maybe even 3, and then padding x4, 5, 6. Okay, and now I mean, this guy, what the hell is that? It's like a little stripe. So on the nav item, is it like a border or? So it's like a container which has B4 scale, the index, content, position at the bottom. Okay, so it's like an element which is positioned at the bottom, and okay, yeah, so we can say like div stripe active, and then we can just add it. And then this guy will be like that, and this guy will be like that. The color is probably similar to this color, which is outline emerald 500, but it's gonna be background. Okay, relative, and then okay, so the width of this guy has to be smaller. Is it like width fit? And then it's gonna be height 1, and then it's gonna be so we have the padding. We don't want a padding on the container. We actually want a padding on the item itself, which is gonna be the same. And then they do some kind of transform here. So you see, my stripe is just rectangle, and theirs is like some stuff. Oh, that's what they do. So border radius, and then they, okay, how do I do that in Tailwind? If I just do the rounded medium, no, so we wanna do the same but only on one side. Border radius, okay, so you can specify border top or bottom, and this guy is actually top, I guess, like that. Maybe smaller, like that. And then maybe we need a smaller padding. So 0.25 is too much and 0.125 is too small. And point 2 is just right. I'm gonna say point 2 rem. Okay. Yeah, that's nice. But make it slightly darker. Like that. No, that's too dark. That's fine. Okay. So navigation is okay. We can say that UI is cursor pointer. Yeah. Now, so the navigation is done. Patrick is done. Timeline changes. So we want to implement timeline changes and basically render history. Right. Whoa, nice. So you can even filter. So the history event types are different. You can do like calls, nodes, tasks, events in the files. And if I change something, what type is it? Because I have changes, right? Okay. Anyway. So basically we want to render a history. Render a history of random events. Random events is fine for now, so we can say like in the navigation div. Yeah, we don't need navigation div anymore. So basically after the navigation div we wanna have like after this guy we wanna have a history, right? A history div, and this div will have background white, and let's add this guy here. And let's say that it has height full, and maybe we're gonna do like a padding, I guess. Maybe margin 4, like that. And okay, and let's do rounded medium. Okay, now in the history inside of this guy we have a title, right? And actually let's make a padding as well, and this guy will be font semi-bold. Oh, sorry, not here. Like that, and then we want to render this nice timeline. Yeah. So let's say we have some events and it's an array of stuff. It's an array and the type of this array will be so it will be just a flat array, and for every key in that array we will have like a time, or maybe like date, time. It will be date, and yeah, let's call it just a date. And then on the right side we have like whatever changed, right? It can be different events, right? So because if I go ahead and write a node, save it, in the timeline I will have different kind of event. So the event will have like a type, and it will be like change or event, sorry, node and stuff, like different kinds of stuff. For now we will only have like a change, right? But we can also have like email and stuff, right? So and also with that type we will have whatever changed. So in the case of change we have like a customer type, so it's like the details, I would say, and these details, they are different depending on the type. So it's like a field name and author. Well, author will be always present, right? But for example, if it's email and I send email to someone, then it's not only author, it's also like sender and receiver, right? And so yeah, this will be like author will be specific to the type. Most of the time it will be just author, but sometimes it's gonna be like sender and receiver. Okay, so we have field type, we have author, we have value before, or value old, value new, field value. Right? And that's basically it. So let's add some records to this guy. So the date will be new date, the details, the type will be change, maybe let's call it field change, it's more specific, and the details will be yeah, so this guy will be like either this or that and so on. So details will be field name is like well, let's maybe just not create it now, not create them like this, but just we will have some logic that populates this array, right? And we can just put them in some state structure. For example, here we have a card and we have it will, yeah, we will call it card history or card timeline, right? And we will go ahead and just implement on field change, populate the timeline with events, right? That's what we want to do. So on the left side, right, on the left side we have render carved fields, and here we have a container and class change to edit. Okay, so we have icon save, right? This is the save functionality. This is the save functionality. And whenever we change the card value, we want to go ahead and populate the card timeline, push date, new date, type, field change, details. It's gonna be object with details, which is gonna be field name is CRM field, label. Okay, so we use label. Let's use label instead of name. Field label and field value. Okay, so why is it? Okay, let's use the card here. Like that. Oh. Field label, here it is. And then author, I will just hard code it. And then field value old, which is like that. field value new. What else? That's it. Okay, so timeline. We don't need this comment, it's stupid comment. And then let's maybe log it and see. So we gonna go and change. Let's go to John Doe. This is my favorite. Let's change my field. Oh my god, I have a bug. Or yeah, it's like a styling problem. That's not good. That's not good. Yeah, we will see, we will fix it later. Anyway, I change it, I save it, and I have my first ever event, right, which says that field change by at this time, and by me the field value, field label my field from A to B, and that's very nice. We can go to C. Yeah, so let's copy this object and let's paste it over here as of now, just to be able to have some data to work with, right? Okay, so this will be like a new date, like that. And now we wanna write down that fix styling in the card edit fields. Yeah, so we want to render these events now, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and in the history here, I wanna say card timeline, and every timeline event. Okay, so we want to start basically with this guy. So render today. So maybe it's gonna be like so how do we render? I forgot about it. So we just render a div and that's it. And around that div we render some icons, which are just, you know, just some stuff. Oh, they actually do similar stuff, you know. In their case it's like UL. I don't know why UL, but maybe it's for accessibility. We don't touch accessibility yet, so. But in general, yeah, they have similar stuff, which is nice. We come up with similar ideas. So, in that case, in order to render a history, I need some kind of div, and yeah, just you know, just div timeline, div line, let's call it, and it will have how do I do it here so it's similar? Okay, so it has a background. Oh, it has two backgrounds. That's no good. Why do we need two backgrounds for this guy? I don't know. This is the only background we need. Oh, that's nice. I broke something. Span title. Oh yeah, of course. Sorry guys for that. I didn't mean that. So let's do the same. So it's gonna be class name, background, and I don't know, some kind of background, and maybe width 0.5, and then we will add it here. So, and the height will be full. So we have our line here, which is incredibly beautiful, you know. Let's maybe add a margin left, like that. Okay, and margin top as well, and then we want to render today, right? We want to render today, and today is Saturday. Okay, so we have like a timeline element, basically timeline point, div point today, and it will have background color, which is gonna be the same as this guy. And it's gonna be inner text today, probably. Okay, and now we wanna fix the width and height and make it rounded. Like that. Can I do styling for text and for after? That sounds a lot of fun. So after colon and so basically like that. Nope, not working. Yeah, I don't know, it's too complicated. Let's just have just a point, and inside of that point we will have dot and this dot will have these classes. And we can call this guy like a row, and inside of the row we have dot, and yeah, and then we can say that this is relative and this is absolute top 0, and then it's gonna be like left negative 5 pixels, and today is gonna be like a span, you know, just like a span text. Right, and now we can position the text slightly to the right. And we can say that it's gonna be absolute like that. And maybe font light, right? It's kind of okay. Maybe let's do margin left slightly smaller. Yeah. Okay. So we rendered today, and let's go ahead and render the rest of the events. So for the rest of the events, we will have similar situation, right? So we have a div row, maybe and inside of the div row we have a div dot, and the span text. Maybe they will be slightly different, we will see. So they are all positioned absolutely, that's why they are not working, which is fine. I would say that this guy has to be relative. Maybe the line has to be flex as well. So line flex. Let's for now not maybe do this guy. So maybe let's do like usual positioning to see what is going on. Okay, so for flex we wanna say flex column, right? And then okay, so our dots are rendered slightly to the right. So we wanna fix that. But no, we wanna first of all fix that they do not have enough height. So every row has to have like height 32 or maybe like 24, maybe even less, 16. Yeah, so it has to be like height 16. Yeah, and then let's say that we're gonna add absolute and left -5 pixels as usual, and then we're gonna replace it with different styles. So it's basically just a different color. Oh yeah, just a different color. Which is like the background is gonna be white, but the border is gonna be like slate 200. then we can do like a bigger height, so it's gonna be like 6. No, that's too much, sorry. Yeah, 4 is enough. And then yeah, and the height should be maybe 20. I wanna have height of 18. Alright, and then on the left side we want to render the date, so it's gonna be date so for now I don't want to care about how I'm formatting the date. I will just render the same stuff all the time and we will see how it goes. So this guy has to be absolute, and then left, I don't know, 40 pixels. Oh, so it has to be left like a lot. And the font size, text has to be small, right? Has to be small, and maybe color will be like that. And the top will be like that. Right. And then we want to render on the right side and the icon. I don't have these icons and I don't want to copy them because it's probably not a good idea to copy stuff like that, because it's like a picture, I guess. I don't want to copy pictures. Copying HTML is fine, I guess. Like from the copyright perspective, I guess copying HTML is okay. But copying pictures is not. So I don't want to do that. I just want to render text. So the text will be different. Text will be saying that depending on the event type, it will be different. right? So here we will say if the field change, then we want to say that event details the field label, then updated by, and then so it's gonna be like updated by, then it's gonna be author. Oh, so it's gonna be like bold, and then the value. Okay, so these guys are actually not just one text, they are like more complicated situation. So they are div content, maybe div details, and then inside of the div details we want to initialize it differently. So for the field change we say that it's gonna be like one span, or maybe like div with span inside of it and another span. So it's gonna be div first line first, then inside of the div line first we have span author, event details author, and this guy will have like a text, sorry, font bold, and then div line first will have inner text, which will be actually this guy, updated by, and then yeah, and we will just say the div details appends this line, right? So this is the structure that I mean. Like we have our div, inside of that div we have the date, the dot, and the line, and inside of that line we have details. Inside of details we have text and a span, and also, oh, that's not good, that span has div. I don't like that for sure. Yeah, now it's better. And then we want to have another line. Line second is gonna be basically old value to new value. Event details value old to event details value new, and this guy will have text, sorry, font light, I guess, and text slate 700 is okay. Right, and also add some quotes. I need to practice my English. So yeah, this is Oh, that's too much. Yeah. And maybe the font size will be small. Like that. And yeah, my field updated by me. Maybe that's too bold. Maybe that's too bold on the first line. Semi-bold. Like that. Yep. So that's nice. So we render history of random events, and then when we create a new event, we want to re-render the timeline. Not even re-render the timeline, but we want to insert this new event into the timeline. Because we don't want to like re-render everything if it's especially if it's a long timeline, right? We don't want to do that. So whenever we card timeline whenever we push to the timeline, we want to have this function. This is the function that we want to reuse, right? That returns a div of the row and inserts into the line. Okay. So how we want to do that? We have div right, div history, div line, and inside of the div line we kind of insert a bunch of stuff. Well, maybe we actually first of all should have this loop inside, because that's the proper level of nesting, right? Like that. That's first. Next. The next thing is I want to understand how I can, what is the right way in this case to extract a function. We create a div row and then initialize it with stuff inside and put it in the line. And we push on the left and we re-render on the right. So somewhere here we want to say, okay, we have element screen card. Maybe we can have like we can have a div line, I guess, div timeline, and it will be yeah, and maybe let's rename it as well so we have the same name all the time, and no matter where we refer it. div timeline, right? Okay, and now we can say, yeah, that's correct. Now we can say div timeline is gonna be, it's gonna be a element screen card, div timeline equals this div, and we can now extract, this as a function, right? This as a function, and put it because we wanna have it over here, render timeline row, like that. We need event for that stuff, and it will be a type of this guy. CRM timeline event. Type CRM timeline event, like that. Right. So we have our function, we return this element back when we call it, and we can call it now and have our stuff, right? Let's check. Yeah, rendering works. If I do not execute that, we don't have any timeline. If I execute, we have the timeline properly rendered. And now card line push over here, we want to say maybe let's call this guy render timeline event, because that's the type of actual object that we are trying to render. And here we can say render timeline event. Oh, so I don't have it. I don't have this function because I have render card fields. That's okay. I can move it up a bit, level or two, how much I need. Yeah, like that. Oh, I no longer need here this hack with function. Okay, I'm glad that I don't need it. And now we can say event, right? Yeah, let's maybe initialize it inside, and then we can say like this. Maybe we want to call it a card event, not a timeline event. I don't know. Let's call it card timeline event. Right, so we applied changes to state, and as a result of these changes we have our new event that we render, and as a result we get back a div, and that div we wanna actually insert into the timeline. That's no good. If we're gonna insert it as a first value, that's no good. So maybe we wanna actually save the reference to the rest of the, I don't know, let's think about it. Because we have our div, right, and this div has a first row which is always today, right? If I change something in Zoho, it's gonna add me event. Oh my god, it even refreshes the page. So it's gonna add event, and this event is gonna be here. So today should stay the same, in the same position. So we wanna be only inserting in the rest of the events, right? So maybe we're gonna add a container for the rest of the events, and that's what we want to reference and prepend into that. So we're gonna say div timeline rest, right? And we're gonna append this div timeline rest like that, and these guys will go inside. Like that. Let's check if it works. Okay, so now our structure, how it looks like. It looks like that. We have our main div, and then we have our first row, and then the rest of the rows are inside of one. And maybe let's make it height full and width full, just so that we have a nice styling here, right? Okay, and inside of that now we can have like rows of stuff, and that's what we're gonna reference. Timeline rest. Okay. And now over here we want to say oh yeah, that's the wrong reference. This is the right reference, right? Okay, and here we want to say how to insert node as a first child. Insert before, inserts a node before a reference node as a child of a specified parent node. If the given node already exists, it moves, that's fine. Reference node. If this is null, then new node is inserted at the end of the node's child nodes. That's no good. Prepend. Inserts a set of node objects before the first child of the element. That's what I want. Prepend. And let's say assert defined. Now, if we try to change something, we should be having, okay, so I changed from A to B, right? If I change to my new value, it's gonna be here, which is really cool. Now we can spam stuff, and we have a new timeline. Let's maybe save this timeline so that we have it. Right. So we're gonna just say that car timeline like that. Cool. One thing that I see is that we should actually splice it here, you know, at start, zero deletion, and yeah, that's how we want to do it, because we want to insert in the very beginning of the timeline, right? So if we say if we try to say like new value, we should have it as a first, yeah, as a first element in the array. That's right. Okay. What else? We implemented the container for the rest of the events. When we create a new event, we want to insert this into the timeline. We implemented the timeline with the changes. Now let's commit this guy. So we have timeline event as a type, and we have new creation of the new event. Well, let's maybe move this guy, my name, as a constant. I'm constantly author. Okay, so author name, just to be able to see where we need to change that. For now, it's fine. Okay, and we render stuff in the timeline, and then we have our function that takes the event and renders a bunch of stuff in the timeline, right? And we have the timeline, the data, the array, sorry, with the mock data, and we have the right structure, and that's it. Basically that, and we want to fix the styling in the cart edit, because that's no good. So this button is fine, but this button is not as good. Oh, that's interesting. What the hell is going on here? If I close this field, then all the rest of the fields change. Is it because oh, I don't like this. What is that? Did they break? Oh my god, I broke timeline. Oh no. That's not good. That's not good, guys. What the hell? And this is not... Okay, we will figure out that later. That's fine. So, my button, he's not good. So the height is 46 pixels, and if I start editing this guy, it's also 46 pixels, but for some reason it looks... Oh, I see. So it's like the width of container changes. Oh my god, why is that happening? Oh my god. Because two buttons take more space than one, I guess. Or like these inputs, they take more space, right? For some reason, this field is forcing the container to expand, and this field is not. What the hell? Okay, let's see. Let's see, guys. So on the left side, I have fields, right? And I have my field container, and basically I go through each field and render it the same way. So why is it different then? They are not different, right? They are not different at all. Maybe it's because the text is smaller. No. This is some crazy web situation here. So we have 3x4, and then when we click, we hide this guy and we show the div 3x4 with a gap. With a gap. Okay. And here, in this field, we have the same div 3x4, and then we hide it and we show another one. So the button has 18.25 pixels width, and this button has 23.67. What the hell? How is it possible that it has a different width? And okay, so width is in RAM, right? Width in the RAM. So it's probably not enough width for this guy. We probably need to set like a bigger value, I guess. Seems like the width for the icon is not enough. Let's try to set a bigger width. Right, for the icons. Okay, so this is the field, and then I can save, let's say it's gonna be like 8. Whoa, that's not good. Maybe the height should be the same. Oh my god, I don't like this stuff. It's still becoming like wider. So I don't like it. I don't like it. I guess it's because of the layout. No, it doesn't help because the other field still becomes even wider. So the next thing we want to try is, let's try to wrap them. Maybe not wrap, maybe let's try a bigger width for the left container in general, right? We have left, and right, so we have left and it's 1 by 3, so it's 33% of the width of the screen of the parent. And let's try one, let's try so we have 33%, we can have 40%. That's the closest. Yeah, that's the closest. 2 by 5. Let's do 2 by 5. Yeah, now it's always good. Okay, that's important. I use 40% 2 by 5 width because if the width is smaller, then sometimes it's not enough and the icons start collapsing and becoming smaller, which I don't want. Right. Okay, so if it's 40%, then the rest of stuff has to be 60%. Well, yeah, it's the rest, which is very nice, very nice. Yeah, it's cool. It is cool, guys. Okay, we fixed this annoying bug with the styling, and let's just commit it. So we basically only changed one single class, and that was enough. So, thank you guys for being with me today, and I'll see you on the next video.